Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Your Lab Central. Today, I have with me Angela. So, Angela, would you like to tell our audience why they should be excited about this conversation today?
Hello. Yeah, my name is Angela, and thank you for having me on this podcast here. And helping others to scale their business basically. And of course, social media is something very important in the aspect of scaling. And yeah, I'm happy to share all my knowledge here with you. And let's see what we are having this discussion up for.
All right. So, when it comes to scaling businesses, there's just too many things when we do that, right? But what kind of businesses have you been working with, like startups, or is it like family businesses, old industries, or something of that sort? What's your specialization, or is there something that you specifically look
Yeah,
into?
I have worked with single persons such as musicians, for example, but also up to Nasdaq noted in companies. So that is a wide range. Everybody who wants to scale is possible for me to help as a client, and I'm very happy. The processes are always the same. The difference is sometimes in a product, but that doesn't is that doesn't make anything different in the scaling process. It's always about detaching the factor labor from the factor time, and of course, yeah, social media is a big factor of it. It is a hungry machine that you need to feed all the time. But once you know how to feed and how to harvest, then it's a good thing to deal with.
Okay, so I want to ask you two questions as to
Mhm.
in the past few years. Okay, social media has become a whole different ball game, a giant of sorts when it comes to scaling, right? So
Mhm.
a few things have changed from when social media started out and how it is today. So if you had to point out specific things that are very important today, which were probably not as important earlier, what would they be?
Of course, back in the days when I started to discover Facebook and its first functions, I remember that I was in Germany, and I remember my sister was in Canada for occupation, and she actually introduced Facebook to me because it was there already very big. But in Germany, literally nobody had Facebook, and I was thinking, oh my God, nobody knows that, that there's no use in it. A half year later, it was just really a quantum jump, and there was Facebook everywhere. And back in the days, to utilize the social media presence for commercial, to get out there with your product, with your service, was something that didn't reach, of course, the level that back then it was important to be present as such. Nowadays, it is important to be present, of course, but also to have a unique point of where you get through next to all of the other people that also wanted to achieve visibility. And so it is always important nowadays to have the right content, quality content, brings value to the people and have an automation behind. Back in the days, you could actually not have so many automations. I mean, if you had an email funnel, that was already something very futuristic, but nowadays, this is just the minimum of what you can do. If you are just posting to post, that this is a big nonsense. I'm saying always my clients, you have to have a back end in which you are stowing and farming the leads that you gain, the visibility and the conversations that you start. They have to be stowed somewhere, so you can put and farm this lead a little farther. Because when people meet you online, it's not yet always the case that they are ready to buy their product. So it's about the readiness and to buy a piece of real estate in the brain of others. So it is very important for continue to have the journey done with them, and that is nowadays much more important than ever, I feel.
Okay. Now, trying to get this piece of real estate in people's minds. Okay, it's
Mhm.
like creating quality content as well as having that hook, and then the possibility that the person actually becomes a lead at some point of time. This whole funnel that there is, okay, and the different methods that we use, be it through social media or we use email marketing funnels. Uh,
Mhm.
what are the tools that you say that are the bare minimum these days? Because you mentioned email funnels were just the most high-tech content, high-tech tools earlier, but today it is one of the bare minimums. So what are the bare minimums today?
Yeah. Bare minimums today is a CRM. And a little bit of an advanced CRM is also to have actually an automation behind your interaction. So, not to wait until they are going into your email funnel, but already when they are in social media interacting with you. Now, that's why it is so important nowadays. It's about reach and interaction. It's not anymore about the likes, how many subscribers you have, but the reach and how much a person interacts with you. And for that, you should use actually some AI possibilities to get actually the involvement of automations already on your comment marketing. That's what I'm focusing very much on when I train people how to implement and what to implement in their social media game. So to actually get the people already when they are commenting. So that is something I find it's a game changer. If you have that, you fill your funnel much more easier and quicker and much more steadier than you wait until they put in their address and then they are getting something, they have to maybe have to have an opt-in. Yes, I am willing to sign up and so on, so on, so. I think this is already a barrier that somebody doesn't want to overcome, doesn't want to go when they are on the first steps of the journey with your service, with your product, with yourself, with your personal brand. So that's why it's much more important to have an automation already when you're commenting with the people than waiting until they are opting in your CRM. Mhm.
Okay, now why are you saying that specifically? I mean, that is one level of awareness, right? When somebody has seen your content and commented on it. But how beneficial or what is the difference in the lead generation scale, right, that you have seen when companies are actually targeting those people who have commented, regardless of who it is, whether it
Mhm.
could be a potential customer or not a potential customer?
Yeah, the turnaround actually about having this client picked up when they are commenting and then, get actually their lead and the trust of the exchange of their email address, maybe. So they download any kind of white paper, any kind of description, any kind of recipe or whatsoever, and getting that on that early stage without going to a website makes actually the lead possibility out of my research, out of my work, 35% higher than if you are just targeting in an cold audience, for example.
Okay. Now, when it comes to these businesses that are there on social media, right? They're not just about content, not just about the business, the page of the business itself, right? But sometimes also the founders or the CEOs, right? The board members trying to create content around themselves, trying to become knowledge experts. So, what's the impact that you're seeing over there from that perspective, where it's not just the business who is talking about their products and what are their values, but also as a founder or as the chairperson or something of the organization itself being present on social media.
Yeah, it is doesn't matter whether you're on social media or on a website, but it is so important to have, um, yeah, identify your target audience and see what you wanted to do, the goal. I always have to think from the back. yeah, what you wanted to achieve, and from there on what you wanted to achieve, you can actually make a plan of if you show the face of the person or not. There is a lot of pages, we know them all, theme pages, that you can get a lot of traffic with. It is depends on what you want. There's not always an face needed, but if it's a personal brand, of course there's a face needed. If it's a content theme page about, yeah, um, a happy marriage or how to garden, then it's not necessarily important to have a person on it, but the subject. However, if you have these theme pages, then it is something that, of course, some person who is in the picture as the gardener, let's say, as a happy wife, as a happy marriage person, a happy family person, if people are connecting with the face, of course, even a theme page could keep them. So client retention is much higher than in a theme page, because a theme page is sometimes on some stage when they are meeting the outcome
Hmm.
of the CI, then it can cause a fatigueness in a very rapid way, and that's why the customer retention on social media, when you are with your own face or with a face on it presence, is higher than if you have it without any of personalization.
Okay. Now, when it comes to content strategy, right, for businesses, there is also this thing about trying to target specific customers. Okay,
Mhm.
because even though they are just one company, they are doing multiple products for multiple types of customers, right? And
Yeah.
then they try to create different personas and project themselves differently. Is this a good strategy? I mean, they're trying to target different people, trying to become different versions of themselves. Is this sustainable? How have you seen this turn out?
You mean on the same page or on different pages?
On the same page,
On the
or
same page,
but for
it
different
could.
products?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a very good example that I can give on my own example. For example, if you read my bio and maybe the people wanted to know where is actually my background of, I'm being an entrepreneur since I'm 18, so more than 30 years now, and I have actually started in a totally other world. So the last 25 years I spent in the beauty industry. So I was in Germany, in Europe, very much known as the trainer for beauty. And I am showing people how to proceed a procedure, for example, or how to run your business around this. So now this content is still inside me. I am very much identified with that. And it would make such a mismatch if I'm talking to my audience constantly in examples of a beauty salon or of a beautician in order to get the business. As I said in the beginning, the processes are the same. Maybe the difference is in the product, but the
Yeah.
processes of scaling is still the same. Still, it is mismatching the audience, confusing the audience in what is this person actually about. So that's why I'm having still a page where I'm not so much anymore into the beauty industry, because I'm not practicing anymore. I'm also teaching barely, only maybe one or two training courses a year, but out of passion. So therefore, there is not much content, but it's still separated from the content that I have nowadays, because I want also the people to know what I'm standing for. And if you mismatch different personalities, or if you mix different personalities into your content on one page, of course, this is confusing. And what's making confusion with a client? A confused client doesn't buy anything. So that's why you have to keep it actually clear in your page what it is also all about. And that's also something that we always go for the target audience when we have paid ads. For example, I'm mastering also for my clients. Most of my clients have clientele on LinkedIn. We are doing paid ads on LinkedIn. A lot of people say, oh, that's very expensive. I'm saying all the time, when you do it like LinkedIn wants you to do it, then it's very expensive. If you do it the Angela way, then it's not expensive and truly very affordable. On top of it, on LinkedIn is one of the pages that you really can target very exact, where on Meta you are spreading it everywhere actually in order to get actually the lead towards your target audience, because on Meta you are not allowed to target so much specific things out of discrimination, especially when it's coming to the European market.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's one point that I'm loving about LinkedIn. But coming back to the initial question about the clear message that you have to deliver, yes, even in the paid ads, as I just said, we are having clear target audiences, an audience for this, an audience for this. We even split within one audience and select a smaller group. So it's much more exact and better, even efficient. And yeah, you should not mix it too much and be wild. Yeah, I have every other content. Yeah.
Now, you brought the comparison of different platforms into the conversation,
Mhm.
LinkedIn and Meta specifically. So I want to ask you, what's your preferred platform for advertisements? I mean, obviously, it depends on the business type, right? Sometimes
Yes.
T2C is preferred for
Yeah,
Meta,
that
and that is
you
there.
cannot. Personally, I can say LinkedIn is my preferred platform, and also where I deliver my own advertisement.
Mhm.
But I'm always thinking in the shoes of my clients. I'm always thinking, what do you want to achieve? Huh? And that's when you have to see what is actually the answer of it.
Mhm.
Where's your target audience? So it doesn't make sense if you are making any advertisement for an photographer on LinkedIn, or for a photographer course on LinkedIn, if all of these audience with picture related content is on Instagram,
Mhm.
for example, or
Yeah.
even Pinterest. Yeah. So this is something that you have to really differentiate and crawl into the audience. I always say walk a mile in the shoes of your audience, and then you will understand what platform you take and what advertisement also works.
Okay. Now, LinkedIn specifically, if let's talk about LinkedIn itself, right? And
Hmm?
a few things are changing on LinkedIn, that they're now promoting more video content and trying to become more, I don't know, they're trying to become more Instagram-like or TikTok-like by promoting videos, right? What do you have to say to that? Will the look and feel of LinkedIn change?
Yeah, well, I don't think that LinkedIn wants to become actually like TikTok or so. I would really run away, and I think a lot of people would also do that. But what is the definitely a fact? There's even a study about that. We will until 2020, 2030, we will actually have only 10% of static content even on all of the platforms. So
Okay.
this fast word, it is just digesting videos per se somehow easier. So if I'm just standing in the elevator on the way in my office, I see so many people. They do not read a static post. They do not read a static advertisement. They
Okay.
are looking videos, and that is something that, of course, I think LinkedIn will want to adjust to this kind of change. But I think it will never be like TikTok, and I'm very glad about that because it attracts exactly that mature audience that, for example, my clients want to have, and this audience that's also financially in a position where they are not being heard of spending money on a course, be it an online course or investment around your services that you have to do. So the chance of being in an yeah, financial stronger environment in social media, it's in LinkedIn or YouTube even, something very higher in the chance. Yeah.
So, just from a personal perspective, what I feel is that LinkedIn has always been a more text-heavy platform, right? People share a picture or just share their thoughts in a post, right? They do that so much. So, this transition, okay, for the regular person out there who is trying to become uh, a content creator on LinkedIn or trying to become an influential personality or a person of importance on LinkedIn. Uh, how should they go about doing this transition? How are you doing this transition? Looking forward to it.
Um, but I'm not trying to be an influencer on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
That's something very important. The message, yeah, I'm not looking for. I know what you're going to, and I'm explaining how to do this. I'm just letting you know.
yeah.
Again, it's important to know and find out what you want. Where's your goal, and that's then how you go there. So to become an influencer, you have to stick to the laws of advertisement with LinkedIn. To have a premium account, you get actually boosted much more. To comment on others, of course, you get boosted more, but that's not all. It's very time intensive. If you wanted to become actually a very influential person, you have to put awareness campaigns, not to collect leads, but just to get spreaded more. And I just even had a conversation with some of these LinkedIn experts just recently, and he explained me even when I'm playing paid ads in a lead generation matter, then it will actually be promoted much more um, if you before then had an advertisement on only awareness. So that means to boost a video and because you are just paying for it to bring it to a wider audience. But that is not my type, and that is not my goal. And I had, as I said lately, in a conversation with him, and he tried to convince me. And I said, no, it's still possible to generate leads without having actually your ego involved. To have an post that is, yeah, a million views or so, it is not necessary to have that in order to have leads. Depends on what paid ad and advertisement budget you have, but it is still possible. And he was very astonished that I was actually generating within 1 week so many leads, qualified leads, and they all fitted in our avatar that we wanted to achieve. And the conversion rate is very high also when we have our process. So it's not only about something very important here. When you generate leads or when you generate even visibility online, it's not only about that. It's not only about your funnel back then. It's also about getting on the phone or in contact with the person. And yeah, there are a lot of AI tools around that, and you can get help. But this is the point where you will, over the future and the long run, differentiate yourself a lot because authenticity is the key in the world of AI. If you are the person who can be doing the call, if you are the person who's getting yourself in touch with the audience that you're generating, then it's much more effective then you would have to an AI call agent, for example. Yeah, it's a help, yeah, to do maybe the first setting, but I strongly believe that we're gonna reach a point, especially on AI call agents, that one call agent will call the other call agent because a lot of people will think I need to have a call agent. So in one point, we have a lot of outgoing calls. They are just in the dead end road. And how good is it then to be different and be still authentic on your own personal matters? So I'm a very big fan of AI implementation also, but I think to a certain extent, we as a human being species, we can already, distinguish if something is AI generated or not. And we will also have this in the first touch point and in the communication itself with our prospects. So that is something important, not only to generate, but to get through to your client and have a yeah, really humanized conversation with them to understand what are their needs. And then if you have that, you have already made a half deal in to understand, and you can then find out how long is the sales circle, how long you will actually need for this person to say yes to you and your service. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, you picked up the offline methods as well in between, right? Like calling, making a phone call, just going out and meeting people, right?
Mhm.
Now, I know. How have the offline methods changed these days? Because obviously scaling involves social media, but a lot of businesses still done offline, going out, going to conferences
Yeah.
or going to an exhibition or just door to
Uh,
door, right? Now,
Yeah.
so how have those methods changed and how are you gathering those changes in your strategies?
Yes. That is something very important. Of course, you should have still these offline world. It is not about to have one or the other. It's to combine them too.
Right.
And it's not about actually, yeah, getting your workforce totally detached from reality. So what
Mhm.
would you be doing actually with all this time? Yeah, after 3 days or 3 weeks underneath palm trees with coconuts, you'll be also bored, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's not our goal. To go out to socialize with somebody is very important. Also to get know your audience. But for example, just a very vivid example. If you are on a conference, on an expedition, you collect so many. I'm having them even here in my desk, a whole stable of business cards and.
Yeah.
Um, how many people and how many hours do you need for this business cards to be digested, to be in your system? So
Yeah.
now what I'm doing, I have an AI agent who is connected with my CRM, and I'm just making at this point where I collect this card, I say, this is XYZ person from XYZ company, make a picture, send it to my AI agent, and they fit it into an automated CRM
Hmm.
template. And after some hours, I'm always doing 6 or 12 hours, depends on what time of the day I'm collecting these leads. They get an automatic question. Hey, automatic answer via WhatsApp in the most of the times. Hey, we met yesterday. It was so nice to meet you. Da 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 da. And so this is AI generated, and I'm giving this into my AI agent, and that is the workforce that I am quickly utilizing to shrink down processes. How many times and how many people notice that you're sitting the next day after an exhibition, actually try to digest and try to remember a million of cards that you have collected, don't know anymore.
Yeah.
And after 20 business cards to either call or put in somewhere, they have already gotten another offer. Who
Yeah.
is faster? And that's
Yeah.
why I'm thinking the big secret today, slow is the new expensive. You have to find things that you are implementing in your workflows that combines social media, that combines humanized activities,
Hmm.
and also the back end of your company, and to bring this all together to make it also slow, to make it also fast, that you are not slow, is actually the main point that you should have in focus.
All right, Angela. I mean, it was amazing. We talked about offline, we talked about online, we talked about social media in between and scaling a business. So, if you had to share one tip with people out there trying to scale their business before we close, what would that be?
Mhm. Yeah, always think of the biggest leverage point in your value chain. Actually, that's what I'm teaching in my classes. Where's the value chain, or how is the value chain going? And the biggest leverage point where you can then put a lot of workforce in, a lot of work power to have this
Mhm.
quantum jump, as I'm calling it, then and in this stage. But before that, you have to really create a good structure first. The environment, the work environment, the infrastructure needs to be there, because before you scale, you have to do this. Otherwise, you will scale the mistakes as well. Not only the good things, but also the bad things.
Yeah.
So something is that it doesn't work, and you get you make an advertisement and you get 100 leads a day, then it's also putting the magnifier on the place what is not working much more, and then it hurts. So make sure that before you start scaling, have actually set up all your structure and environment. Be sure that you know the processes. Like in McDonald's, they know
Yeah.
how to do a burger, and that's what you have to find out in your own business. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Angela. It was great having this conversation with you. Before closing, where can people get in touch with you to know more?
You can find me on, of course, LinkedIn. I'm sure you are providing the link to your audience, and of course on social media, Instagram, Angel Success underscore consulting. And in October, when you are launching this podcast here, then I will have also an own podcast that calls Skillionaire.
Mm.
Then scaling is not only about scaling money, but also your skills as an entrepreneur. And that's why I welcome everybody to maybe have a visit there and yeah, look at the knowledge and the interesting guests that we have there that have been also scaling already.
Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. To the audience who's been watching and listening intently, do leave a like if you like what we talk about. The comment section is open for perspectives, questions, and suggestions on this episode. And don't forget to subscribe before you close the window itself. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Angela.